Welcome to RSCH503, Research Methods and Biostatistics, a 3-credit graduate course offered by Drexel University College of Nursing and Health Professions. Grounded theory is an inductive methodology. It is the systematic generation of theory from research, leading to the emergence of conceptual categories. Grounded theory is a technique developed by Glaser and Strauss in 1967 to explore health-related topics. Its origins are in sociology. Grounded simply means that the theory developed from the research is based on, or has its roots in, the data from which it was derived. In society, social life, meanings are shared by groups and communicated by socialization processes. Group life is grounded in consensus and social meanings. As interaction occurs in groups, meanings may lead to redefinition, with emergence of new meanings. Interaction is the focus of observation in grounded theory research. Symbolic interaction theory, developed by social psychologist George Herbert Mead, holds that attached meanings to situations creates reality. Philosophy is the foundation of science, guiding methods employed in any given science. Philosophical research does not focus on methodology. The focus instead is on discussing conclusions of analyses. The 3 types of inquiry used include fundamental inquiry, which examines the foundation of a science; philosophical analyses, which involves formation of questions of concepts to a discipline; and critical social theory, which is conscious to both context and player and the interactions between them. Thomas Kuhn, a 20th century American philosopher of science, wrote the famous book The Structure of Scientific Revolutions in 1962. This book was extremely influential in science and the academy. When you have time, you may wish to read this book, the essential framework of which is captured by the Kuhn cycle depicted on this slide. Ethnography is a very well-known type of qualitative research. It is a mechanism for studying cultures. Ethnography is a portrait of a people. With origins in anthropology, ethnographic research is undertaken in many disciplines. Ethnographic techniques describe and analyze aspects of the ways of life of particular cultures, subcultures, or subculture groups. Madeline Leininger, a nurse anthropologist, defined culture as a way of life belonging to a designated group of people, a blueprint for living which guides a particular group's thoughts, actions, and sentiments. All the accumulated ways a group of people solve problems, which are reflected in the people's language, dress, food, and the number of accumulated traditions and customs. Leininger promoted the theory of transcultural nursing in the 1970s and became a leading nurse researcher in the discipline. Semiotics is the study of signs, symbols, and signification as elements of communicative behavior. It is the study of how meaning is created, not what it is. A sign is the smallest unit of meaning, anything that can be used to communicate. A signifier is any material thing that signifies. For example, words on a page, an image, a facial expression. What is signified is the concept that a signifier refers to. What does the word nurse signify? What is signified in a culture but the image of a nurse? Semiotics is a rich field of study in ethnographic research. Another category of qualitative research is historical research. Historical research examines events of the past to gain more insight and more understanding of these events. Historical research is used by nurse researchers to appreciate our discipline through such questions as, who are we? Where did we come from? can we project where we are going through understanding our past. Historical research may debunk nursing's traditional reliance on myths that legitimize the existing order and thus challenge change. As has been noted, there are no true histories, only people who study history. Thus, histories blur distinctions between real and ideal. Interpretive history is an exploration of the past to search for meaning. Interpretation may be accomplished by concept development, by explaining causality through theory development, and by generalizing to other events and other times. Nurse historians explore archives and map out past events using primary sources. Lastly, critical social theory is another type of qualitative research. Such theory is conscious of context and individual, as well as the interactions between them. This led to participatory research, in which representatives of the group being studied are included as members of the research team. This provides participants to take some degree of control over the study. Critical social theory research is heavily influenced by the writing of Karl Marx. The underlying belief that social phenomena must be examined within a historical context, and that societies function on the basis of closed systems of thought, leading to patterns of domination, preventing personal growth of individuals within that society. Adele Falk-Raphael, a nurse researcher, proposed that critical caring as a hybrid mid-range theory builds on nursing science and critical feminist theories. Issues raised in qualitative research that may impact rigor include method mixing, the researcher-subject relationship, which is considered a necessary element in quantitative research and not a bias, reflective thought or a conscious awareness of self in the research process, and auditability or the evidence retained to support conclusions and emerging theory. Community advisory boards are invaluable to researchers as they study groups of people in a community culture. Partnering with such boards earn researchers the trust of group members, which may allay people's fears of being used to simply meet the needs of researchers. If a researcher is invited into a community, then the researcher must be humble and consider the invitation a privilege. The data collection methods of qualitative researchers include 1. Unstructured observations. 2. Unstructured interviews versus structured interviews. If structured, then a standard interview schedule is designed and used for data collection. 3. Focus groups. Such groups are commonly employed, the underlying assumption that participants may gain a feeling of safety in numbers as they participate. 4. Storytelling. 5. Relaying of life stories. And 6. Case studies. Many qualitative researchers may employ more than one of these methods to obtain study data. Focus groups are homogeneous, providing participants freedom to express their ideas and opinions. Focus group dynamics may generate authentic information. In such groups, the individual is a major source of information, verbalizing feelings and thoughts. The group interview can provide information superior to the individual interview due to benefits of group dynamics. The successful focus group is also dependent on a skilled facilitator who guides participants to recover forgotten information and to probe and to clarify information given. Focus group moderators need to be neutral, sensitive, and non-judgmental and assume a humble approach. Moderators learn from focus group participants and encourage them to interact. They formulate ideas and help participants interact and engage in meaningful, focused dialogue. The focus group is a technique frequently used by nurse researchers, as well as many others, including individuals marketing products. Data analysis in quantitative studies involves coding language data obtained from various methods, then recoding such data, and finally distilling coded data into classifications from which themes are generated. There are several software products available to assist researchers in analyzing qualitatively obtained data. To reiterate, qualitative data analysis involves 1. Reading and rereading original data obtained from field notes, interviews, focus groups, or other means. 2. Coding and recoding data. 3. Reducing coded data. 4. Discerning categories from the reduced coded data. And subsequently, 5. Noting relationships between and among categories. From these efforts, theory may be developed. This presentation was prepared for graduate nursing students at Drexel University College of Nursing and Health Professions. The primary book used in this research course is The Practice of Nursing Research, Appraisal, Synthesis, and Generation of Evidence, 2017 edition, by Jennifer R. Gray, Susan K. Grove, and Suzanne Sutherland. This book is published by Elsevier Saunders, St. Louis, Missouri.